Welcome to the Common Man Football Show. My name is James Coburn, and today's episode, we're talking about the Denver Broncos versus Philadelphia Eagles Week 9 matchup based on analytics. Each week, I collect all of the current 2017 NFL team data in order to analyze and project potential NFL performance. And since it's a weekly collection, there will always be some differences here and there in terms of from a week basis. However, there will always be little nuggets of truth that could become bigger nuggets of truth as the season continues. So stick around as I analyze each week's matchup based on analytics. And if you are new to the channel, all terms and definitions will be in the description. So starting with the matchup this week between the Broncos and the Eagles, when you look at the NFL stat basic comparisons, and again, basic comparisons just means how the offense is doing, how the defense is doing, how the special teams is doing, various team statistics, and the overall data, which is essentially just takes into account all these factors, really heavily favors the Eagles in this matchup. So let's get into some reasons why. So first off, turnover ratio. The Philadelphia Eagles do not turn the football over a ton on offense. They don't fumble the football a lot. They don't throw interceptions a ton. And this is something that the Denver Broncos do not do that well. The Broncos are about a 7.87 out of 100 since 1998 when it comes to turnover percentage. And this is something that I think will continue to be an issue for them going forward. They've had this turnover issue. Brock Osweiler, of course, was named the starting quarterback going into this game. He's someone who has not had the best history when it comes to turnovers either. So this is going to be a tough game, a very tough transitional game for the Broncos in terms of that turnover ratio. On top of that, sack percentage. Sack percentage deals with the ability to prevent sacks on offense. And the Eagles are not amazing based on this statistic. They have about a 28.66 sack percentage overall. However, they're better than the Broncos, who have a 9.29 sack percentage. On top of that, you look at offensive score percentage, which is basically the ability to score on every single offensive drive. And the Eagles have a 96.22, whereas the Broncos have a 17.17. So in every single important statistic, offensive statistic, turnovers, sacks, points, Eagles have it there. Defensively, it's a slightly different story to a certain extent. When you look at the defensive offensive score percentage, which is basically the ability for the defense to prevent points, the Eagles are better than the Broncos in that respect, but it's not a terrible advantage. The Broncos and Eagles, I would say, are fairly equal statistically speaking in terms of their ability to prevent points from being put on the board. Where the big disparity happens, however, is the Eagles are much better at creating turnovers. They have a 64.09 when it comes to defensive turnover percentage, whereas the Broncos only have a 2.68 out of 100. And again, as much as this Broncos defense gets praised, and believe me, there's tons of great players in this Broncos defense, in terms of defensive line, in terms of various secondary players, there's lots of guys like that. However, they do not create a lot of turnovers on defense. And when you have an offense that's this anemic and a defense that doesn't create turnovers, you're not going to win a lot of football games. And that has been something that has really plagued the Broncos to a certain extent. And by turnovers, I'm talking about overall turnovers, fumbles, those types of things. Fumbles plus interceptions. Then, of course, you look at interception ratio. This is actually the area where the Broncos have one advantage on defense, which is they have a higher interception percentage. But, again, the Eagles are just better when it comes to creating overall turnovers. And that is definitely a statistic that I tend to point to a little bit more because that's telling you the total, the sheer number of turnovers versus just one specific area where they're creating turnovers. And, again, that is the big weakness on this Broncos team is the inability to create overall turnovers. They definitely can create picks, but they don't really create as many fumbles and those types of things to really help this offense, get some help, which they really do need help because of how poor they're playing. And then, of course, when you look at special teams data, punt return yardage, for example, favors the Eagles. Kick return yardage favors the Broncos. So again, from that respect, Eagles will be better in terms of punt return scenarios. whereas the Broncos will be better in terms of kick return scenarios. In terms of defensive kick, punt return, and kick return, Eagles are favored there in both those areas. Field goal percentage also favors the Eagles. Extra point percentage favors the Broncos, and punting average favors the Eagles. So overall special teams, I would say, does favor the Eagles. If you look at the overall special teams as an aggregate, especially that field goal percentage is very important when it comes to your ability to win tight football games. And that is something that the Broncos do not have right now. 5.04 in terms of their field goal percentage. So that is an issue with their kicker, just not getting the type of results that he needs to put in, and as a result, the Eagles are favored. But again, the overall data favors the Eagles, and I pretty much went through offense, defense, and special teams. Now, when you look at micro matchups, so looking at other sort of data points in terms of different downs and distances, when you look at completion percentage data, this is the Denver Broncos versus Philadelphia Eagles when it comes to completion percentage, and in this area, the Eagles are favored in this game. The Eagles defense specifically is favored in this game over the Broncos offense in that respect. Again, this is the new quarterback. Brock Osweiler's coming in. I don't expect much from him. I've done videos in the past on Brock Osweiler. If I have a link or not, I'll probably throw it in. I've also tweeted about him as well. So if you look at my Twitter account and you look up Brock Osweiler, I do have some tweets on him. But he's not the most efficient quarterback either. So I don't expect this to change that much, is all I'm trying to say. And then, of course, when you look at the Eagles' completion percentage data on offense versus the Broncos' defense, again, continuing trend. Not the best on first down, not the best on second down, but elite on third down, or at least very, very good when it comes to third down completion percentage. So, again, I know I got a comment about this saying, well, you're not factoring in the wide receiver. Listen, man, I'm just telling you how to make your offense that much more efficient. No offense is perfect, but everybody would want to be a unstoppable offense. Like there is areas to improve, and I would say the one area on the Eagles with Carson Wentz and the passing offense as a whole is second down completion percentage. He's near the bottom when it comes to second down completion percentage, which is a concern. It's worrisome. So again, it's just an area that I think you should improve upon. Now, he does really well on third down, which I've praised him about. That's why you're winning football games, is because he gets it done on third down. But I'm just saying, two areas where he can improve, and this offense as a whole can improve, is first down, is second down, and because of the issues they have in first and second down, the Broncos will have some success because of this issue, because the Broncos are favored here on first and second down in that area. Then, of course, you get to rushing down. So the Broncos rushing offense versus the Eagles rushing defense. In this area, the Broncos are actually favored here. The Broncos don't have the best first down offense. The ability to kick first downs on first down with the run is not the best. However, they do really well on second and third down. So I think the Broncos will have some success rushing the football in this game. But I don't expect it to come on first down. I expect it more so to come on second and third down, because that seems to be the down and distance where they have the most success rushing the football. Then, of course, when you get to the rushing offense of the Eagles versus the Broncos, this continues to be an issue for them. Pretty decent on first down. Second down and third down, not the best. However, they are bringing Jay Ajayi to the table. I've not done a video on Jay Ajayi yet. I'm not sure if I'm going to have enough time to do one this season, but I am going to try to do as much work as I can. Because again, Jay Ajayi is one of those guys that he hasn't played a ton of football games, so whatever I say about him now could be completely different at the end of the season, because we're at the midpoint of the season. However, I do think Jay Ajayi could improve this a bit. So that's one thing I think is good. Now, do I think he's going to have a big impact in the first game? Probably not. I mean, I don't think a running back that just switched teams a couple days ago is going to all of a sudden hit the field and be amazing. However, I do think that he's going to be in there a little bit, sprinkled in a bit, and I think eventually he'll start to have a bigger role as the season goes on. But I do think that the addition of Jay Ajayi was a good decision, was a good trade, and I'll be excited to see if he can improve this a bit. However, against the Broncos' rushing defense, which I guess is the last point, I don't expect a lot of running room here because they've been a fairly good rushing defense, especially on second and third down, which also happen to be the areas where the Eagles have the least amount of success rushing the football is on second and third down. Then, of course, when you get to passing down, so this is the Broncos passing offense versus Eagles passing defense. In this respect, I would say it's fairly even, except for third down. The Eagles have one of the best third down defenses in terms of the ability to prevent conversions on third down, whereas second down is a little and first down is a little, they're good on first down as well. But I would just say that they share a lot of strengths and weaknesses with each other. Now, again, this is a different quarterback. It was Brock Osweiler. But I would say that even despite that, I think you should expect more of an even matchup, except for third downs. Again, this is how much success the Eagles are having. They're having a lot of success when it comes to third down situations on offense and defense, and it pays dividends because when you're able to when you're able to play really well on those third down situations, get the opponent to punt, you're having a lot of success. And I think that's something that can be said about this Eagles defense. Then, of course, when you get to the Eagles offense versus Broncos defense in terms of passing downs, again, same scenario here. Okay on first down, below average on second down in terms of their ability to create first downs on first down, and third down is where all the money is made. This is pretty even. When you look at first down situations, Eagles are favored, but fairly close. When you look at second down situations, the Broncos are favored. And then when you look at third down situations, the Broncos are not favored. The Eagles are favored. However, it is very, very close. So I would say that this is a very close matchup. I think this will probably be the most tested Carson Wentz has been this season, because he's going up against a defense that does really well in third down situations, third down passing down situations specifically. So this is going to be a big test. This is going to be a big test for the Eagles. I still think that Carson Wentz will show some success, but hopefully the inefficiencies that I described, the inefficiencies on first down, the inefficiencies on second down, hopefully those issues don't show up in this game. Then, of course, you look at sack rate. So the Broncos offense versus Eagles defense in terms of sacks. In this area, the Eagles are heavily favored here in terms of first down situations and second down situations. That right tackle spot is where most of the major problems happen, and I think that's definitely a place to see some success. Then, of course, you look at sack rate for the Eagles offense versus Broncos defense. In this area, the Eagles are favored on second down and third down situations. The majority of the sacks that the Eagles give up are on first down, and the majority of the sacks that the Broncos get are on first down. So that is going to be the clear down and distance to kind of see what happens. Is that down? But when it comes to second down and third down, I don't think it'll be much of a factor in this game. The Broncos just don't do really well in terms of getting sacks in crucial downs and distances like third down. They're just not that great when it comes to creating sacks in those situations. Then, of course, get to the Broncos versus Eagles defense when it comes to interception ratio. And in this respect, the Broncos are actually favored here, except for third down situations. Again, the Eagles have a very good third down defense. They actually lead the league when it comes to the ability to create interceptions on third down. I think that will be a major factor in this game. Now, it's a new quarterback, it's Brock Osweiler, but I think that everybody knows or should know that Brock Osweiler is a guy that is prone to turn the football over. So I do think that this is a matchup that the Eagles can win. So I will give this for the Eagles to a certain extent because of that major difference on third down. And then lastly, you get to the Eagles versus Broncos defense when it comes to interception ratio, and this definitely favors the Eagles in this respect. And second down situation is the only situation where I think the Broncos, Eagles might have a lapse in judgment, perhaps. We'll see what happens. But second down doesn't seem to be the best down and distance for this Eagles offense when it comes to passing. So we'll see what happens. Ultimately, my general thoughts on this game, I think it's Eagles victory. It's a quarterback last minute, Brock Osweiler. There is a ton of data. Again, check my Twitter account. There's a ton of data on there that I posted already about this particular situation, and Osweiler just doesn't really get it done. He didn't really get it done when he was on the Broncos. He didn't really get it done when he was on the Houston Texans. And he definitely didn't get it done when it comes to the various other sort of situations with him. So ultimately, Again, I have to go Eagles. And of course, you can follow my other work at draftcoburn.wordpress.com. You can also follow me on Twitter at Geometrics. And if you like this content and you want more content like this, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. Share this video as well with anybody that you know, and I'll talk to you guys in the next video. Peace.